I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I apologize for making you guys wait. We had a few delays this evening to get us started. We're going to start the evening with Ms. Laila Sales and a presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laila Sales. I'm the District Director of the Fine Performing and Culinary Arts. And I'd just like to take a moment to say, in honor of the board recognition, thank you. Thank you to the board. Thank you for being a community that's committed to education and committed to the students. And for that, I will bring our very own out for you this evening. And I also have a video presentation for you. Okay, give me 1 second.
This is the West Hempstead Chamber Choir, and these are the best kids ever.
When I fall in love, it will be forever. I'll never fall in love, in a restless world like this is. Love is ended before it's begun, and too many moonlight kisses seem so cool in the warmth of the sun. When I give my heart, it will be completely. For I'll never give my heart. And the moment I can feel that you feel that way too is when I fall in love. When I fall in love, that's when I fall in love with you. Fall in love with you.
just assuming that
You don't know where to kids on Christmas.
So then you say how there's so many. Oh, this is for the board. This is for the board, the bigger one?
For the board table, board.
Oh, okay, well, so then I'll open this one. It's not gonna be easy. Oh, this is for our table, for when we're here. And people are here with us. Thank you so much, they're beautiful.
I love them, thank you so much.
Thank you. Terrific, super, thanks.
In case somebody. We have, we just have to go through a few policies, and then we're gonna start our regular meeting. We're technically in a policy meeting at this point. And, this should be relatively quick because most of these are just reaffirmations. And, there's only a few that had some changes or, suggestions on them. So I'm gonna go through them quickly for the board. As long as there are no questions, we're gonna move them. We're not voting on them now. We move them into our regular meeting, which is in 5 minutes. And then we vote on them at that meeting, okay? So, the first policy, it's been a long day, sorry, is 1515, which is parent and family engagement. So does anybody have any questions in regard to this? There was a few revisions by the attorney, just to make it consistent with the accompanying regulation. But if nobody has any questions, we're gonna move this forward to the next meeting. Our second policy was sexual harassment. I mean, you guys have had these, you've been able to read them. Sexual harassment policy, again, just was realigned to meet the current standards. Moving right along. Policy 3443. There was a change made. If you can look on page 3, actually page 3, there was one line that was redlined for us. It basically just took out one piece of a sentence in that paragraph. And then there were a couple of pages on these, so I think it's page 5 is the next one where the words were just changed. Of course, that been changed to whether such instead of which. There's simple changes. So unless anybody has a question on that, this policy will move forward for reaffirmation as well. The regulations go with that, so we'll see. Moving right along. Policy 3545 is student transportation. No, I have it here. I do have it. Come on. Policy 3545, student transportation. The revisions were noted in the sections that were sent home for us. There was just a revision in regard to, I don't have the red one. Oh, I did, I'm sorry. In regard to the school names and how they'll be treated as far as them having separate entrances. So 7, 8 kids are being bused to the north side of the building, 9, 12 kids are being bused to the south side of the building, as they always have been. Policy 3444 was purchasing. We're going to move that forward. The attorneys found that to be legally sufficient as written. So there was no change made to that one. Policy 4200, which was in regard to non-certificated personnel. The word business manager was changed to assistant superintendent for business and operations to be in line with the rest of the policies in the district that concern the assistant superintendent for business and operations. So as long as everybody's okay with that, we're going to move that forward. Policy 4212, again, same thing. Director of business changed to assistant superintendent for business and operations. Somebody in the back not looking.
Well, I'm looking at it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Somebody.
All good.
I mean, I'm
Moving right
watching
along.
the nodding, but,
Yes, yes.
okay,
Yeah, we're not nodding off.
that's a good thing.
It's pretty exciting.
I might, so.
Wow.
Policy 5120 for district attendance. Again, there was a revision in this policy on, I think it was on page 4. Sorry. What? Kurt's got to show me out. I was close with 4. There were slight changes that the attorneys recommended. These should have been read over the weekend, as long as everybody's okay with these changes.
All good.
Thanks, Byers. Kurt's a no guy, but Byers is an okay guy. Open and closed campus, which is policy 5127. The suggested revisions were noted in the red line copies, and the accompanying administrative regulations would be the same.
Good for me.
Policy 5140, which just really changed a few words where it said advanced instead, wait a minute. Oh, right, I'm sorry. Advanced, it would change the word to athletic in many of the places. There was a couple of other changes on the first page of that policy and also on the third page of that policy. Mostly changing of the wording from the word high school to the words numbers 912, and middle school to 7-8. And again, a lot of it was just changing the word advanced to the word athletic. On which page? This is for children who are going to be moved up, if I'm not mistaken, to play in
Middle school.
to the high school. So if there are no other questions on that policy. 5141 is in regard to graduation ceremonies. And it just added a piece in regard to students with disabilities. Other than that, the rest of the policy was okay and so reaffirmed as written. Policy 5161, which is student bullying prevention and intervention. There were a few changes to add the word hazing and discrimination, and then a few spots where they took out the words verbal and nonverbal. Cyberbullying include everything. There's some changes on page 3 as well. Some is just wording, but others was to be in line with the administrative regs as well. Does anybody have questions on the changes that were recommended by the attorney?
No.
Again, there were a few changes word-wise on the administrative regulations as well. Policy 6151, special education IEP program diplomas for high school students. They found this to be legally sufficient as written, so it would just be reaffirmed.
So no changes then?
No changes on that.
Okay.
9160, which is student participation in board activities, would be, the word high school was just changed to say secondary school. Board privilege of the floor discussion items, 9343. The words Island Park was taken out, as Island Park parents are no longer considered permissible to speak at a board meeting, and their children no longer attend the school, although if any of them are here as special ed students, obviously we would allow them to come in and speak. And then there's a few words that were just changed to read, and any background or material may be forwarded. So as long as everybody is okay with that, we're gonna move that over to be reaffirmed. And then polling places, which is policy 9520, again, the word middle was just changed to secondary. That was the only change. So as long as nobody has any questions on these policies, they're going to be moved to the regular business meeting, which is about to start, and we will vote on it. Okay? Okay. Just about to adjourn this meeting to start a meeting. So I need a motion to adjourn the policy meeting.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Still think I'm on the side. Okay. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the regular business meeting of the Board of Education on Tuesday, October 18th, 2022. I'm not going to make you stand and do the pledge again because we just did that, although I'm probably supposed to. I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening. The students came in, they did a wonderful presentation just now. So if that tells you anything, it should tell you that our students work very hard at what they do and the craft of the things that they find important to them. And please come out and see them when they do their drama productions. Please come out and see them when they do their concerts. Please come out and watch our sports teams play. Everybody tries really hard to do the things that they love, and they do particularly enjoy when people are there to watch them. So please make sure you take the time and the effort to come out and see some of those things. I just want to take a moment to just remind everybody that a few weeks ago, unfortunately, we lost a 7th grade student in West Hempstead who died of a tragic accident on Woodville Road. So I want everybody to remember that tomorrow is not promised. Take the moments, take a chance, make the phone call, send the text, give the hug. It's very important for people to know that you're thinking of them, because you never know when that's going to be your last chance. I need a motion to move docket 2-139 and 2-141.
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
We have no report committees currently. PTA, PTSA, and SEPTA. I did see Michelle Thomas, but I don't know if she's still here. Hiding. Oh. Michelle, are you on there again now? She was here before. That's why I said it. She must have been here with Joey. Michelle, are you able to unmute?
Now she can.
Now you can unmute. Sorry.
Here I am. Okay. Because it's the beginning of the school year, of course, PTA has a long list of things, so bear with me. First of all, we wanted to say thank you to everyone that attended our first meeting. It was very well attended. Photo day was this past Friday, the 14th. Proofs will be coming home. I'm not sure when, but you will get proofs, and that will be your way to purchase the photos. Retakes is December 2nd for all 3 schools. We have our Meadow Farms fundraiser that began last week. It goes until November 4th. Please make sure that you set up your child's fundraising website for any family and friends that are out of town to be able to help with the fundraiser as well. Spirit Wear, that closed on Sunday. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the product to come in. So now that the store is closed, we'll probably get it within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we will reopen the store sometime in the winter. We're thinking January or February. World's Finest. We have the chocolate bars that we're selling right now. That's an ongoing fundraiser. They are $60 for a box, and then you sell them and you keep the money, or you can buy another box. You can buy as many as you want as long as the sale is going. It's $60 cash, or you can order them online, and we will bring them to school, and your child will bring them home. We have book fair coming up November 1st to the 3rd at all 3 schools. Info for that will be sent home soon. The 6th grade Fun Day Committee has their first fundraiser this Friday at Cornwall Avenue at 7 p.m. It's Trunk or Treat. You should have received the flyer for that home. And if you are interested in decorating your trunk and having it be one of the trunks that the children visit, you need to respond as soon as possible. 6th grade parents, please start looking for photos for the yearbook. Flyer with submission instructions should be coming home soon. You should have received the flyer telling you to start looking for the photos, but the flyer with submission instructions should be coming home soon. Reflections, information will be submitted soon. Information to submit for reflections will be coming home soon. The theme is Show Your Voice. Reflections is the ability for kids to, just like we just saw in the video with the fine arts and in the district, it's a way for the kids to showcase their creativity through writing, through singing, through filmmaking, dancing, whatever it is that they love to do. They can do it whatever medium they like. Our side by side is returning this year, and you should be receiving those home in folders soon. If you have not signed up for membership already, we ask that you please do as soon as possible. PTA is nothing without our members. Social media, if you're not following us on social media, please do. You can visit our website at WEPTA, that's WHEPTA.memberhub.com, and there's links to all of our social medias on the website. And finally, our next meeting is November 28th at 7:30 in the Cornwall Avenue cafeteria.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
You're welcome.
Okay, I don't see any PTSA representatives in the audience, so very quickly, I'm just going to say PTSA is holding their first meeting this Monday night, the 24th. It is the 24th, right? The 24th in the high school, in the secondary school video conference room at 7:30. As most are aware, PTA and PTSA are alternating months this year, so to make it a little easier for people to get out of the house. So please try to come and join us at the PTSA meeting. SEPTA held their first meeting last week. I understand that it was an excellent turnout. Unfortunately, I was unable to be there due to a work conflict. But I know that the report card presentation that took place beforehand was also well attended, and that SEPTA had some good representation there. We're going to move on to our student representatives with Veronica Hanna, who's in the audience to speak for us this evening. And you brought a friend. Are you going to speak as well?
Yeah.
And who am I-
Madison Celestin.
Go ahead, you guys are up.
So my name is Veronica Hanna, and I'm the Vice President of Student Council for grades 9 through 12. And my name is Madison Celestin, and I'm also a member of Student Council. Here's an overview of all the activities happening this month. So Student Council is hosting their annual Halloween party for students K through 6. It will be held on Friday, October 28th from 3:30 to 5 in the cafeteria. We would also like to extend the invite to our pre-K students and families. There'll be a variety of Halloween-themed STEAM activities, music, snacks, and more. The event is free for all. In addition, we are teaming up with Key Club's grade 9 through 12 and a spectacular raffle, bringing donations of non-perishable items for a raffle ticket and a chance to win the big prize. All donated items will go towards Key Club Thanksgiving food drive. Key Club news: Key Club will be running their t-shirt and sweatshirt fundraiser with their Be the Good logo. In addition, for the month of November, Key Club will be holding their annual food drive to provide Thanksgiving meals to our community members in need.
Yearbook Club news. Yearbook Club wants to remind everyone to take advantage of the current low price of $90 before the price goes up on October 28th. And bonus, you can pick free emojis to personalize your yearbook.
Leadership Club, several virtual enterprise students along with Mr. Silverman will be attending the New York State School Board Association Expo in Syracuse on October 28th and the 27th. They will be participating in the student exhibition section explaining the virtual enterprise program and selling their virtual products.
The ENL Club designed and decorated a bulletin board in a circle for Hispanic Heritage Month. Next week, we will celebrate Halloween by painting pumpkins.
Class Club news. Class of 2026 freshmen successfully completed their banner for homecoming. It was wonderful to see so many come and support one another in the creation of the banner and represent Rand Pride. The freshman students' elections have been completed, and student representatives have already met to discuss ideas and how they can incorporate the habits of mind into the framework of the work they do as a class for the school community. Mr. Forrest and the student representatives encourage all to come to the next class meeting in room 32.
Athletic news. The fall season for secondary athletics for grades 9 through 12 is coming to a close in the next 2 weeks. Congratulations to Alaya Ghani, a member of the girls varsity swim team who will be competing in the divisional swim team next Friday at Eisenhower Park.
On Tuesday, November 1st, the girls varsity volleyball team will be hosting a home playoff match against Island Trees High School. The start time of the match has not been determined yet.
The start date for the Winter 1 season for grades 7 and 8 athletics begins on November 7th. The start date for winter season for grades 9 through 12 athletics begin on November 14th. Registration for Family ID began today and will remain open until October 31st.
Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you very much, girls. You did a wonderful job. I'm sure you have a lot of studying to do, so.
Yes.
Go ahead. With that, I'm going to pass the floor to Mr. Regan for his superintendent's report, and then Ms. Riley for her report.
Thank you. Good evening. On behalf of the administration and staff of West Hempstead, I want to thank you, the Board of Education, for your time, dedication, and leadership. It's an honor to serve you, your children, and the kids, as always, step up. My day started with the Pasquale's class. They're learning a new piece this year, I guess for the winter concert, which was the national anthem of Israel, and didn't start off great, but they were getting better. They were getting better and better, and then Pasquale left and go to another class and came back later. I ran into them and said, "Oh, they were starting to really get it. I think they were getting it when I was leaving." So it's a true joy to see our kids in all aspects. And, because of your support of programs like that, that, the band, as you know, we can see the band now at football games, and that hasn't always been that way in the past. And we're going back to Hofstra, band and cheerleader, right? We'll be back at Hofstra to perform there, and then we do some other great events in the near future. So it's a great time to be a part of this. If you don't like the name of the building, we'll just call it the building maybe. But there's a lot of great things going on here, and of course, K to 6 is well on their way. K to 6, I should say, is well on their way to bigger and better things. As of course, and you'll see here momentarily, there's still plenty of work to do, and be satisfied. And with that, once again, for everyone, thank you for all that you do. And we'll turn over to Ms. Riley to share some wonderful news, and so lots of wonderful news, and just the overall district report card for the past 2 years.
Hey, good evening. Thank you to the Board of Education, Mr. Riemann, and our audience for allowing me to present our school district report card. I don't think I'm going to be as scintillating as the students in the video, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Last year, our students and staff continued to persist and exemplify RAM Resolve and RAM Pride as we returned to school full-time and began to gain a sense of normalcy once again after the COVID-19 pandemic. Our overarching themes continue to be in the areas of reading, writing, speaking, and thinking critically. In all our K through 12 grades, through an interconnected approach to learning that holds inquiry at the core of our programs. We piloted our first pre-K class in January of 2022. Our students had the opportunity to learn their letters, learn about the world through imaginative play, and began to think about their thinking. In essence, they laid the seeds for a love of learning that should foster them from now through 12th grade and beyond. This year, our pre-K program is in full swing. In September, we opened our doors and we welcomed our students into a brand new wing. Our littlest students quickly acclimated to their surroundings, their routines, and their environment, and they enter our doors each and every day with big, bright, shiny, happy faces. And on the opposite end of the educational continuum, we opened a new secondary school where our students have the opportunity to explore pathways that allow them to be apprenticed into expertise through inquiry. Together, our administration, our students, our parents, our families, and our community have the opportunity to collaborate to build a new culture, a RAM culture that fosters critical thought and creative outlets. We continued our partnership with Literacy Matters to enhance our reading and writers workshop in grades K through 6. Our 5th year of partnership focused on student conferencing, small group instruction, and our publishing parties came back once again. Our students had the opportunity to explore many titles in our classroom libraries that we were able to purchase from Teachers College. The district decided to enhance our program by purchasing the MyOn software program. This program offers over 6,000 titles in fiction and nonfiction selections that our students can access both from school and at home, thus fostering that love of literature from just about anywhere. As a matter of fact, in one school year, our students read 36,234 books through the MyOn program. Our 7th and 8th grade teachers had the opportunity to work with literacy matters as well, to provide a continuity of instruction in our Readers and Writers Workshop through our elementary and now into our middle level grades. Additionally, those teachers had the opportunity to work with Red House Learning through the University of Vermont's Tarrant Institute, where they were able to plan integrated humanities projects and performance tasks for our students. So in essence, what does that mean? Our students in 8th grade have the opportunity this year to read books that center around the theme of resilience while simultaneously learning about resilient individuals that lived during the Civil War era, thus creating an interconnected approach. In 7th grade, our students are reading A Long Walk to Water, which teaches about water conditions in South Sudan, Africa. This story is told through the eyes of a boy named Sava and a girl named Naya. The story is told from those two perspectives, and while they're learning about the water conditions in Africa, they are also simultaneously studying geography of the world in 7th grade social studies, along with its bodies of water and how water affects the development of civilizations on our planet. Thanks to our SSAC's creativity, imagination, and innovation, George Washington acquired a fantastic and jazzy new Ram Pride vending machine. Our students can obtain books to nourish their minds, learn about new things, and deepen their connections to literature through culturally responsive book selections. Books are acquired by exhibiting the habits of mind in action throughout the school day. When a student is spotted practicing a habit of mind, they receive a RAM token. This RAM token can be used in the vending machine to redeem a book of their choosing. We continue to partner with Investigations 3 in grades K through 5 and CMP3 in grades 6 and 7 this year as well. Our students have learned and will continue to learn math concepts through inquiry, investigation, and multiple entry points into a lesson. Our focus continues to be to dig deeper into fostering critical thinking through the lens of math concepts, and to provide our teachers with the ability to guide instruction and support the needs of all learners present within their classrooms. This year, our teachers will participate in a one-to-one coaching session in their classrooms with consultants in real time. As you are well aware, we have integrated many new programs throughout the years here, including literacy, mathematics, and science, to name a few. Our committee thought that it would be a perfect time to realign our K-6 report cards so that they can represent our new programs, as well as the newly minted Next Gen standards, as well as our Habits of Mind Character Ed program. Beginning this year, our students and their families will be able to track their progress and monitor their achievement in each content area with specific standards on each of the content areas throughout each quarter. Our students' social emotional progress and their ability to view how each child is progressing with their habits of mind will also be tracked on the report cards as well. This year, we expanded our RAM pathway opportunities for all students. Last year, as you may recall, we provided an enriched curriculum for all our 7th grade students in our math courses. And I'm happy to share that this year, our students are now enrolled in Algebra 8. By taking the 8th grade algebra course, and in June of 2023, passing that algebra regents, our students will now have the possibility to complete their high school mathematics requirement earlier than previous cohorts, allowing them to enroll in college-level math classes while they are still high school students or secondary school students here at West Hempstead. We also believe that aligning these opportunities in our humanities department was equally important. And so this year, our English language arts curricula will also be an enriched curricula for all students, thus breaking the barriers for student learning and allowing equitable opportunities. Our students' Seal of Biliteracy recipients are growing by leaps and bounds. The previous 2 years ago, we graduated 2 students with a Seal of Biliteracy on their diplomas. This past June, we graduated 15 seniors with a Seal of Biliteracy on their diplomas. Students need to accomplish a series of tasks showcasing their proficiency both in English and in another language. Among those series of steps include written reports or papers and presentations to a panel of teachers in the alternate language. Beginning this year, our seniors will also have the opportunity to gain the Civic Readiness Seal on their diplomas at commencement in June as well. We began the SEAL pilot this past year by partnering with Generation Citizen in some of our social studies classes. Our students had the opportunity to complete a capstone project in a civic-minded area in our community or cause in our community. The Civic Readiness Seal indicates that the students demonstrated sufficient knowledge in the area of participatory government, civic values, and responsibility. Once they complete the series of steps between middle school through 12th grade, they'll be able to acquire this seal on their diploma as well. Last year, we began a full Habits of Mind implementation. We began a full Habits of Mind implementation in grades K through 12. Students had the opportunity to put these habits into action both inside and outside of the classroom. Various activities and challenges were presented to our students throughout the year, and they took them head on. We see our habits of mind throughout our school community each and every day. In fact, we have a 7th grade elective class this year that focuses on how students can become successful through these 16 habits. Now, students have the opportunity in this class to set personal goals, create portfolios, develop a passion project around a central or driving question, focusing on the habits of mind, all with creating an authentic work product in the end that can be shared with their fellow students in our school community. And as a matter of fact, we partnered this year with Montecito School District in California to continue to explore ways that we can enhance our programs, as well as hopefully with the ultimate goal of becoming an internationally recognized school, recognized habits of mind school. When thinking about educating our students, we aim to provide the most robust possibilities by collaborating with organizations in our community to better provide opportunities in emotional, social supports, as well as academic avenues that extend our students' learning well beyond our campus. This year, we will continue to work with Nassau Community College in the concurrent dual enrollment program. Our students now have the ability to attend classes in Nassau Community College's campus throughout the school day, follow a college semester schedule while reaping the benefits of being a senior here at West Hempstead Secondary School. They can earn credits that serve a dual purpose for high school graduation requirements and/or a diploma, as well as a degree for college in future years. They can earn up to 36 credits that they can apply towards an associate or bachelor's degree during their last year here with us. And they can apply these credits to any SUNY or CUNY institution throughout our state. This year, we entered into a new partnership with Adelphi University through the Education, Innovation, and Research Grant. This grant provides the opportunities for students who are in higher education teacher courses to enter into teaching residency here within our district. So together with our highly skilled faculty and their university professors, these students can learn best practices and 21st century teaching skills that as they prepare to embark upon a career in education, all the while providing support to our students and teachers within our classrooms here. And now, I'd like to talk about a little bit our data snapshot for the 21-22 school year. Close to a decade ago, we graduated about 83% of our senior class. And I'm pleased to say that in June of 2022, we graduated 96% of our senior class. And that's thanks to the hard work of our students, our teachers in K-12, our administrators, and our families, as well as our support staff, who prompted our students to think critically, flexibly, respond with wonderment and awe, and persist even during the most trying of times. As I mentioned, West Hempstead High School graduated 96% of its 2022 senior class. This represents a 3% increase over the graduation rate in June of 2021 here at West Hempstead. And as you can see from this slide, our students continue to go above the minimum requirements for that high school diploma. And our advanced diploma rate in June of 2022 was 61%. We always remain committed in providing opportunities for all students by encouraging them to reach their highest academic potential. And during the school year 2021, we saw an 11% increase in students obtaining a 3 or better on their AP exams. Their persistence, their openness to continuous learning, and their ability to think flexibly yielded incredible results even during a COVID pandemic. As you well know, research indicates that students who enroll in one college-bearing class while in high school are more likely to enroll and graduate within 4 years from college, regardless of the score that the student receives on the AP exam. We put this theory into practice each year by providing our students with the opportunities to enroll in these classes through personal choice. As we can see from this slide, our students hold themselves to the highest expectations and explore the world of college classes before setting foot on a college campus. This slide continues the EP placement results, the advanced placement results. And hey, did you know? The first preliminary Regents exam was administered in November of 1865 to 8th grade students. Seldom, if ever, in its history, did the Board of Regents ever cancel these exams, with the exception of the past couple of years during the COVID-19 pandemic. But this past June, NYSED decided to administer the exams to our students once again. And many of our students, despite being upperclassmen, had never sat for a Regents exam during their secondary school careers. So it's important to note that despite 2 years of learning loss, our students put forth their best effort and held their own. There are some interesting facts to keep in mind when we view this slide. In the spring of 2021, NYSED did not receive a waiver from the U.S. Department of Education allowing them to cancel the New York State assessments, if you recall. And therefore, students in New York State were administered a test that was different from those in previous years, and from the exam that was administered this past spring in 2022. In 2021, students who sat for the exam only had 1 day of testing. The exam was in fact truncated. This year, the ELA exam returned back to a 2-day test for all our students. However, many of our students who elected to take those exams had never seen this type of exam, nor had ever sat for a state exam, if at all. So these scores from both years only represent the students in the cohort who took the exam, and they're comparing 2 different exams from 1 year to the next. In fact, only 41% of the students across the state of New York took the ELA exam. These scores do not truly reflect the overall achievement of our students in English language arts, nor do they account for the differences in exam administrations or forms or the tumultuous years of the COVID-19 pandemic. We see a similar pattern in the math assessment slide as well. The math assessment was administered last year and was different from previous years, similar to what happened with the ELA exams. Whereas the math assessment administered in the spring of 2022 returned to a two-day testing format. Many of our students also never sat for this type of exam or for any state exam due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Last year, only 39% of our students took the math assessment across New York State. Therefore, these scores demonstrate the progress, again, of only those students in the cohort that took the exam. It does not provide a true achievement and growth for the entire cohort as well.
Thank you. So, you know, as you said, obviously those scores are not representative of everything that we need to take into account. But do we have at any point, and I don't expect you to have it now, but do we have something that does show the growth of, let's say, obviously the 8th grade cohort was not a great example if we looked at this and we went by just that number.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have something that we can utilize to show the growth of that cohort?
Yes. I'd just like to point out that, if I may give a little bit of a story behind the 8th grade score that you saw there. Last year's 8th grade cohort had 140 students in the grade. Of those 140 students, 51 of those students took the Algebra 1 exam last year, which left 89 students in the cohort in a Math 8 course. Out of those 89, 51% of those Math 8 students opted out of the assessment. So therefore, we had roughly 45 students sit for that exam. So it was a small fraction of the cohort here at West Hempstead. When we look at the Algebra 1 regions, of the students who sat and took the Algebra 1 regions last year, there was a 100% pass rate, and of that pass rate, 65% got an 80 or better, achieved an 80 or better on the Algebra 1 regions. Yeah. So while this number is something that we take very seriously and we must do better, there is also a story on how that 8th grade assessment is disaggregated because students who take an Algebra 1 regions do not sit to take a Math 8 assessment.
Question. So recognizing the challenges of the last couple of years of COVID and people opting in, opting out of certain tests and so forth, and whatever the issues we faced here with our students, presumably other schools in the county would face similar challenges. Do we look at comparing ourselves versus the other schools in any way?
The comparison on the school district report cards, this data just recently became unembargoed, which allows us to share it in public. We do not have that information yet on how we fared against other districts yet. But once we do have that accessibility and we do look at our comparisons. But I'd also like to point out on the continuum from K through 12 in our educational programs, our students are graduating at 96%. So, and not only may I add that the state usually runs a 42% advanced diploma rate, graduation rate, whereas West Hempstead graduated about 61% of its seniors with an advanced diploma rate. So they are taking regions that are more than what's needed in order to graduate or for the requirement. You're welcome. I was also going to add that as we've been putting in these new programs that fosters critical thinking and inquiry, all our students take the NWEA mathematics and ELA exams. When we, taking a look at when we first began this journey with our new math program in 17-18 versus our students' performance in their growth targets, meaning being able to close the gap to get to that grade level performance, that was at about 35%, and in 21-22, we're at about 51%. So we've seen, even during a COVID pandemic with learning loss, a 16% growth in our students achieving their target scores in mathematics. I'm sorry, Mr. Reed. I didn't finish this.
Oh, no, I will.
Thank you.
No question. Oh, excuse me, Andrew, go ahead.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, 8th graders incoming now are all in algebra, is that correct?
I would say the greatest maturity possible,
Okay.
with the exception of a few exceptional learners.
So do you have any concern with the gaps because of COVID and the gaps because of not testing because of COVID, that our children are going to struggle a little bit more now in an advanced placement class, considering taking like the 7th grade data that only 39% got, scored for the math assessment? Is there a concern there?
Well, there's always a concern for any time that, you put students in any type of class. And having said that, we've had forecasted, and what we are doing is we are providing a workshop class for students who require that extra help in math for the Algebra 1, so that our students are receiving that additional support. Not only that, but we've also remapped our curricula in Algebra 1 to meet the needs of the 8th grade students as they've been coming through the enriched math curriculum. Hence why we decided on a enriched Math 7 curriculum to provide the maximum amount of exposure to mathematics as possible in 7th grade, thus giving them a solid platform for grade 8 Algebra 1.
Thank you.
Yes, oh yes. And then also this year, we also, Mr. Cangetti worked hard with our elementary school teachers to remap or augment our mathematics curriculum in elementary school to bring our algebra strands spiraling up through the elementary school grades so that they have a greater foundation once again for math by learning those concepts through the math curriculum.
I just have one more question. So the diploma seals,
yes,
especially, I'm sorry, I can't see, the civic readiness seal.
Yes.
That sounds like a fantastic opportunity for our students. So I'm really excited about that. When will we start to see those seals on those diplomas?
Well, Mrs. Shinsato, I am happy to say that the secondary school, with our building administration along with Dr. Yee, have been working on that, and we've been working with our counselors to see how our student, where they are in that continuum. And I'm happy to say, and Dr. Yee, you can maybe give greater detail, that it looks like quite a few students might be ready in senior year currently, based on the criteria. Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, thank you very much. I would just follow up on what Mr. Glass mentioned in terms of how we begin to look at the assessment between our how we're doing relative to the other districts. I'd love for you to come back and show us sort of how we're doing with that, and let us see, because I do think that, as we all know, the last few years have been extraordinary, and these numbers, a lot of them are really good. Some of them are not as good as we recognize and we're talking about now. So to see how we're holding up and measuring up relative to the other districts would be interesting to see. Habits of mind. Can you talk about that a little bit more? What is that exactly? And I saw you talk about it, and it sounds really interesting. I love the interconnected parts you talked about and how you shared how that works. What is habits of mind? Can you explain that a little more?
Sure. Habits of mind is really there's 16 habits of highly successful people, what they exhibit in order to have reached that level of success. And so Costa and Calic did an extensive study on those highly successful people and what did they have in common, those qualities and those traits. And they came up with 16 of them. Those 16 can be applied to life, they can be applied to school, they can be applied into the classroom as well as outside of the classroom. And
parenting, maybe?
Yes, even parenting, I would imagine, because when you're a parent, you need to think flexibly, and that's a habit of mind. And you need to persist. And you're always responding. And you're always responding with wonderment and awe.
Yeah, yes, we are.
And so, in a nutshell, it's those 16 habits that they were able to identify that really promote success among individuals. And so, understanding that, like persistence, thinking flexibly, thinking about your thinking, all of these 16 habits can apply to the classroom. There really is no change in curriculum. It's nothing extra. It's just really raising that conscious awareness in a very organic manner.
Interesting. And then the book
fair, not book fair, what is it, where the kids from the school?
Vending machine.
The
Vending machine,
the
right?
van prize.
So if they exhibit, did I understand that they
Yes.
exhibit a habit of mind and then they get a token? Can you explain that a little bit
Sure,
more?
absolutely. The faculty and staff at GW thought it would be a great way to organically and spontaneously have those students practice those habits of mind in a very non-formulaic way. So when the staff or the spotty student exhibiting one of those 16 habits, they get a token. That token can be used in the vending machine to redeem a book of their choosing.
That's cool.
That was all driven through the Superintendent Students Advisory Council.
That's superintendent, what a guy.
The kids.
No, the kids.
The council,
Oh, the council, not the kids. Not to be flip, but yeah, I can joke at your expense. That's not only personal. But I do love the alignments with Nassau Community, with Adelphi. I think that's really, really terrific. This may be a weird question, and I'm really impressed by our graduation rate being at 96%. Is 100%, is that an achievable goal? Do schools expect that? And what happens to that 4%? And why do what's with those 4%? I know you would, sir, but what happens? Who are those 4%? Are they coming?
Absolutely.
Sometimes we get kids who come to school at an age where it's not really possible. They get special education, they might not graduate. So, there's no there. So, not this past year, but in the past, we've had people drop out of school, unfortunately. Right, not made it. But the combination of those things. Right, gotcha.
But we're keeping track of that 4%. We know who they are and why they are and that sort of stuff. Not to belabor the 4%, but in terms of trying to get to that 100%, I guess.
Well, the state now with ESSA tracks kids for 4 years.
Yes.
After.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like graduation rate June, like for this year, June of 23. There'll be graduation rate for August of 23. There'll be graduation rate for that cohort for the following year and the following year after that. So they do track it to try to make sure that kids do eventually graduate.
I'm just wondering about that 4%. Why do they slip through the cracks? I'm just thinking about that.
Well, I don't think they slipped through the cracks. I'm not gonna lie. If we're gonna be honest about the whole thing, some of those kids were well aware of. Yeah, sometimes there are factors outside of school that determine people's lives sometimes. And listen, we have every imaginable resource now. And I don't say that like we're bubbling over with things. Let's not invite the audience to get the wrong impression. But 2 decades ago, there wasn't much here, right? If we need social emotional support, we go to Northwell Health. Now we have that, right? If we have kids who want to go to, advance themselves as seniors, we go to Mass Community College, right? They can do that. We have every imaginable opportunity for our kids now to create. We have to smooth out the processes, smooth out the instruction, so that kids can be successful, right? But as I said last month, I guess it's fair to repeat now. Sorry. It's always going to be a bumpy road. We are America. I mean, my friend tells me never to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. We are America. We are the melting pot. You walk through our school, it's just a melting pot of our country that resembles our country, right? So we have kids of all levels on the continuum of learning, right? So we have kids who would come to us in secondary school, never been to school, haven't been to school for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. We have kids who walk in through the door, have been in preschool since they were 2, right? Now they're in preschool with us, which is a great advantage. Tripp and I were talking the other day about, wow, we're going to have to really change up what we do at Chestnut the following year because we're going to have kids who've already had experiences now. So how much further can we push them along, right? So it's always going to be a bumpy road, and if we take the long view of it, while always trying to improve, right? Looking at the short term and the long term simultaneously, and never letting go of that, we'll get there, but it's never going to be perfect. Like the 100 number, I'm sure. Well, I can't promise. I don't know. I just don't know if everything would have to start up a lot, right? For every grade, every test we take to get 100.
Right.
That's not really a thing.
Right.
But can we be better? Of course we can be better. Our math numbers are terrible, right? Let's just call it what it is. And are we working on it? 100%. Is Mr. Kajemi going to work on it? Oh, he will. Sure. Right? He was going to be working with everybody. We're building a program. But we said this 5 years ago. That's why we adopted a new math program. That's why we went in the new direction. Because the numbers were not great anyway, right? And sometimes you get an implementation. I can give you all the story, but listen, you build a program, you ask people to work it. It takes a little bit of time, right? But we're trying to do two things at the same time. Trying to make sure the kids who are here are still doing the best they can, and we're giving them the best opportunities. But yet we're asking teachers and administrators to look at things differently. So it's real work. As we say here during the interview process, and then I'll stop talking, you're going to come here, you're coming here to do real work, right? We're not a district that's sitting on a 99. All you want to do is maintain a 99, which has its own difficulties and expectations. But what we're doing when we finally get there, I don't know. And 96 is special. I know you're worried about the 4, and I don't disagree with you. I don't. That 96 does not get enough airtime in this community. It doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And it's the work of a lot of people. From Chestnut Crew, I guess I'm not going to stop. I'm going to tell one more story about growth. There was a student.
Who knew?
Yeah. There was a student that I wanted to see who came into Miss Wagner's class, who's still a Chestnut today. And I called her at the end of the day. And this kid would come in, and he was fidgety and had a tough background. And, it was hard for him to learn at first. But she would call him his button. He would walk in the door and go, "The button's here," right? And he would come into class. He would basically sit in her lap almost the entire day because he just couldn't figure it out. I looked at his grades today. It was 100 in PE. There was a 98, a 92 in English, a 98 in economics, a 90, that one I'm going to get wrong, 90 something in the other social studies class, a 98 in business math. There you go. It happened. But this is a kid who probably, if I had to go back and look at his third grade ELA score, probably terrible, right? And his fourth grade, but over time it gets better. That's our story, right? And so I think we just have to always not make excuses for it because we want them to be perfect and we walk them the door perfect when they leave. But it's a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And thanks for the call and this correspondence. I think it is important. Just one or two more questions. I promise I'll shut up. 3 or better on the advanced placement. What does that mean? 3 or better? Is it like 4? What's the top score you can
I
get?
guess the best way I could tell you is they're proficient or better in their content, in the knowledge of that material that's tested.
Right. 5.
Five
is the top score.
5 is like perfect.
Okay. And then I also noticed, we were talking about math, our physics numbers. What's the story behind that? How can that be 0% for physics advanced placement, and then 27%? And can you explain that?
Sure. We had physics teachers are hard to come by. They're like needles in a haystack. And the physics teacher that we had hired while was proficient in content struggled with communication of that content to students. And since then, he has found another home, and we have acquired a new physics teacher who is working with our students.
Okay.
Well, just to follow up, what are the prerequisites to get into, say, a physics class? Are we ensuring that the kid's most likely to succeed in those physics AP classes before we put them in there? Or anybody who just wants to go in there, physics sounds cool, let's let me try that.
Sure. The research behind any AP, any college-bearing class or AP classes, students who enroll in at least one of those classes will have a better chance of enrolling in college and graduating within 4 years. regardless of the grade that they get on that on that AP exam, whether it be a 1 or a 5. And so what we do is we support our students in providing equitable opportunities. So in addition to a teacher recommendation, a student also has that ability to select an AP class if it's of interest to them, because we fully support the research that we want them to have that experience, to understand what it's like to be in a college class while in the supports here at West Hempstead, to better prepare them to be successful and graduate college within those 4 years.
Go ahead.
The course before physics was chemistry, right? So wouldn't another prerequisite be passing chemistry?
Yes, generally we would be passing chemistry. Our chemistry grades, I would say, are competitive based on the Regents exams scores.
Just closing comment, going back to what Mr. Rubin said on the 96%. I am one that cheers that and waves at 96% flag, and I understand that, and I think it's really great. I also think it's really important for us to look at the tough numbers. It's not so much the problem, it's how we address the problem. And I know Mr. Raymond and the staff and everyone that works here, you know, we're going to face this head on and continue to work and try and get better. And the last few years have been difficult and challenging, and but we've accomplished a lot in our small but mighty little district here, and we'll continue to fight. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've now reached the period for district residents on Park, but see, I'm so used to saying on Park. District residents or employees of the district to address the board. This individual will be limited to 3 minutes of non-confidential agenda items with an overall maximum of 20 minutes if needed. If you're in the virtual audience and you have a question, please put your hand up virtually, and I will call on you. If you are in the general audience, please raise your hand, and I will call on you here. Okay, seeing no hands raised, I'm going to move forward. There is a second period for district residents and employees of the district to ask questions at the end. I need a motion to move docket 2-142 and 2-143.
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Mr. Reaman?
Well, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Leah Hill, who's in the audience with us this evening. We created, thanks to the Board of Education and their dedication and efforts to all of our students, created a full-time social work position at Cornwall Avenue and Chestnut Street. Previously, Ms. Hill was working part-time in this position, and she started with us in September of 21. She was doing exceptional work, and so we created this position. We offered it to her, she's been accepted, and she has jumped right into the mix, let's just say that, and she's been doing wonderful work at Chestnut and Cornwall Avenue, so congratulations to you, and welcome aboard.
Happy to have you here. I need a motion to move dockets 2-144 through 2-149.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Passes. I know. I need a motion to move docket 2-150 through 2-165.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. He does look from. We have no old business. We have no. We do. Okay, disregard that. Let me back up a second. Old business. I need a motion to move dockets 2-122 through 2-137.
So moved.
Okay, those are all the policies we moved from the policy meeting to the current meeting. Any questions on the policies we discussed earlier? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. We have no new business. I need a motion to move docket 2-166. This was our board goal from the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. On the board privilege of the floor, I was asked, excuse me, recently to bring this up to the board. I thought that somebody would be in the audience to speak about this, but they weren't. So earlier tonight, I mentioned that we had lost a 7th grade student in an accident on Woodville Road, and we were approached by members of the West Hempstead Community, oh my Lord, I just lost it, Support Association. If anybody hasn't seen it on Facebook, there was a petition for people to go on and sign about having people come out and look at the traffic patterns on Woodville Road and try to make that street a little bit safer. So one of the members of that association asked if the board would support that petition, and I said, well, I can't go on Facebook and sign that petition as the board, but they were questioning if we would be willing to send just a letter in support of that petition from the Board of Education. So I just want to clarify with you that if everybody is in favor of doing so, there's nothing barring us from doing so, just asking for them to come out and, assess the traffic.
No, you can take that position, figure the consensus of the board.
Absolutely.
So unless anybody has an objection to that, I'll have something drafted, and then I will send it to all of you before I sign it and have it sent out, and we'll send it to the local politicians. Future meeting dates are on the back of the agenda, or actually on the next page, on the back of the agenda, but they are there. I will actually make one more statement, only because the girls who spoke as student reps were a little quiet, so I don't know if everybody heard what they were saying. It's time for a Key Club Thanksgiving food drive again. I know anybody that was at homecoming may have brought non-perishable items for Stuff the Boss. Excuse me. If you have not donated a non-perishable food item, or if you're interested in donating any non-perishable food items to the Thanksgiving food drive, please drop them off, whether they're here at the secondary school or any of the main offices in your buildings. I know the 7/8 drama production is coming up. Unfortunately, I don't have the date in front of me right now, but at that production as well, they collect non-perishable food items. I am happy to say, and this chokes me up every time I say it, I don't even know why. There's a woman that for the last few years, she doesn't even live in West Hempstead. She doesn't even live in New York, but her organization is dedicated to the memory of her son who died of an overdose many years ago. And the last few years, she has, because a friend of the sister of a friend of hers lives in West Hempstead. Through that connection, she has donated the Thanksgiving turkeys to this food drive every year, and we usually need about 25 or 26 turkeys. And anybody that goes out and buys their own turkey every year, unless you're getting a free one because you spent $350, it's not cheap. And this woman, out of the goodness of her heart and through her foundation, supplies us with those turkeys every year. So I'm proud to say that Carrie Toth, through her foundation, is once again providing all the turkeys for Thanksgiving this year. So please, we don't need turkeys, or at least I don't think we're going to need turkeys, but go in your pantry and take out the stuff your kids don't like. Go to the supermarket and buy an extra thing of stuffing, or a box of powdered potatoes, or canned yams, or cereal. Stop and Shop gift card always works as well. It really is a wonderful cause, and that food goes to the families of our district, the ones that absolutely need it. So we really do appreciate everybody's help when we do get that food and we put it together and then we go out and deliver that food to them. So that being said, in addition to that, I would like to also recognize that once again, Winthrop, or what's it now, NYU Langone is partnering with Key Club to supply Christmas for families in our district. Excuse me, for the holidays. For families in our district. They've been doing that for, this is what, our 6th year? 11th year? Jeez, I can't believe we've been doing this that long. For the last 11 years, we usually have anywhere from 20 to 26 families that we deliver Christmas presents to. And honestly, if my kids had any idea what went home to these other children, they'd probably think that I was cheating them. But they're very, very generous. Each department, they pick a family and they donate to these kids. It's obscene. I mean, it really is. The things that these people go out and purchase and donate off of these children's and the parents' wish list is super, super generous, especially being that they don't know any of these students. They don't know any of these families. And it's truly heartwarming to see. I mean, if you've not taken any thought about it in the past when it's Thanksgiving food drive or the fact that somebody might have a holiday without any gifts or any food, it's time to think about it, because these are the things that make it worthwhile. So please, once again, if you have a couple extra dollars when you're in the supermarket, just buy a few non-perishable items and drop them off at your buildings. That being said, we have now reached the period for district residents and/or employees of the district to address the board. Again, this individual will be limited to 3 minutes of non-confidential agenda items with an overall maximum of 20 minutes if needed. If you are in the virtual audience, please raise your hand. If you are in the current audience, please raise your hand if you have anything that you'd like to speak about. Okay. There being not, oh, sorry, Mr. Young.
Those who don't know, I'm Chris Young, and I actually started the CYO program here in West Hempstead. I've done many programs here in New York State as well as all over the country. And one thing I would like support on is potentially get more gym facility done. Parents calling me, emailing me, what have you. I know there's school events. I've been through all that for many years, but any support I could get from the district and facilities, what have you, would be greatly appreciated. And I want to do this program now and 10 years from now. So any support I could get, I'll greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question about that? Is that appropriate?
Not really. But
Not really?
No.
But
Is what I will say is, if there's an issue with, I don't know if there's been an issue, and there's not really a back and forth that goes on at this point, but if there's been an issue with you getting gym time, with the exception of the fact that our students might be in there playing sports or using the facility, please give a call and we'll try to get a conversation going as to why or what it is that you think. Maybe you just need to put in a permit for additional time. I don't know what the situation is, but just give us, or a different building.
I've done that.
Okay, so
the past 2 months.
So let's chat when we finish and/or give a call into facilities tomorrow, and we'll see what we can do about that. With that being said, I need a motion to move into executive session for advice of counsel and to discuss personnel.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you again, everybody, for coming out. It's been a wonderful night. We will see you next month.